little babies.
I'm not going to go into your son psychologist take, but that's
It's a joke.
fine.
It's a joke.
We are living on borrowed time right now. I'm staring at a monitor where my 2-year-old is singing "Monkeys, Monkeys" on the bed, and my
Racist.
4-month-old is
Racist.
is like fucking barely asleep. So
Where's
go
Ingrid?
to sleep.
Where's
Oh,
Ingrid?
that didn't work either.
Did you do this?
Yeah, she's gone. What do you say we start the show? The Simple Mind Sports Show, the latest and the greatest in New England sports. Today, not so great. We're going to be wrapping up the Patriots season, or start to wrap up the Patriots season. But let's start off with some opening takes. I will go first, as it's mostly going to be Patriots. I'll go ahead and start with our dearest Red Sox. Latest news, the good things only travel for so long in Red Sox Nation. Signing Rafael Devers was the best thing they've done in a long time, and it was forced upon them by the great crowd at the Winter Classic. However, this week or last week, whenever it broke, come to find out that big-time deal they made last year with Trevor Story, not going to work out. He had basically Tommy John light surgery for his elbow that they knew was fucked up when they signed him for 6 years. He'll be out, they say 5 to 6 months, but that's called a year in baseball. I don't know why he waited. There's speculation and some truth to why they waited to have the surgery, but regardless, it just speaks to the complete ineptitude still of Chaim Bloom and his ability to build a franchise and build a winning club and put an actual winning team on the field. Will run through the roster. It's laughable. It's truly laughable. And then a little cherry on top, they had a dog and pony show press conference this week for the Rafael Devers signing, where there was actually credits ran for the people involved, which I've never seen before in my life.
What happened to this team?
It is fascinating. The biggest deal in Red Sox history, the 7th biggest deal in MLB history. You know who wasn't present at that press conference?
John Henry.
The fucking guy who owns the team. So that kind of says all you need to say about the Red Sox. We'll get back to them shortly at the end of the show. But before we get to that, let's move on to our next opening take, which is Bobby. We're going to be Patriot-centric here. Bobby, your opening take.
Yeah, let's talk about the future of the Patriots here. They've come out and said there's an OC search open. There's the big names out there, your Kingsburys, your Bill O'Briens, the internal candidate, your Kayleys. It's what we need is someone new and someone fresh. The Patriots are stale. They've been trying to be the same team now for 20 years, minus the Hall of Fame players to get you there. So what they need is a new voice, someone that can collaborate with Bill Belichick and talk about his ideas for offense and this person's ideas for offense and come up with a new offense. Not trying to run the McDaniels offense, not trying to run a Shanahan offense. Something new that can actually be effective moving forward with new ideas, because this offense is stale and we need something different.
Is this a breaking news Billy bomb? Is this why Bill has not been able to join the show in months? Is Bill the Queen Gately taking over offensive duties for the New England Patriots?
You didn't pass physical. Didn't pass physical.
Bill's more of a special teams guy too. You know, they don't really check those gunners for razors in their cleats and fucking shanks up
brass knucks.
Yeah,
underneath the tape.
Yeah, clearly changes I think are coming through. We'll see how different they are. I don't know. I think a lot of there's certainly still more questions than there are answers, which has been basically the entire Patriots season. Big time off season for them. It seems like we've been saying that for the last 3 years since Brady left, but still remains the case. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot about that as we get into the show. Raymond. Good.
Thanks, Rich. Oh, thanks, Rich. My take is on Mac Jones. I am at my wit's end with this kid. The report came up from Chris Sims and Mike Florio from Monday Morning QB that Mac Jones was calling around the league and asking for advice from other coaches. That's the last straw for me. I mean, Rich applauds this. I don't know if this is Rich just trying to be rich and get on my nerves, but if you did this at your own company and you called a rival company and said, hey, give me your ideas because it ain't working out over here, you'd be fired instantly. This kid can't take the blame. He's a millennial douchebag. He can't take it's Matt Patricia in this mundane offense. No. Guess what, buddy? You're part of the problem too. Yes, you need offensive tackle help. Yes, you need a wide receiver. But you know what? If it was that easy of an offense to run and so plain, then you should have been putting up average numbers. You did not. You were at the bottom of the league as quarterback rating for interceptions, for touchdowns. You are not good. You have to get that fucking idea that you were a Pro Bowl player. No, you're an alternative Pro Bowl player because everyone and their mother was hurt or didn't want to go to the Pro Bowl. That's the only reason why you were a Pro Bowl player. This kid needs a reality check, and I don't think that he's going to make it on the Patriots much longer. Hopefully he doesn't make it next season, but I think they're going to give him one more shot. But I think that's one too many shots.
You and the rest of that wheelbarrow of dimwits throughout Patriots Nation thinking that low of Mac Jones without any context is laughable to me. It's not baffling anymore. It's not surprising. It's just laughable. It's just there's no context to it. There's to blame it on the quarterback. It's just stupid, and it's fine. You're the bottom of the totem pole of dumb for a reason. Half of what you just said is untrue. It's fine. It's okay.
What did I say was untrue? What did I say was untrue?
He's not good. He was a top 10 quarterback, like you're statistically, if you want to bring up statistics.
This year?
Rookie season. Last year.
Okay, what happened this year? What happened this year?
He backslid because they brought in the worst coaching staff the NFL's ever seen.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. We'll surely be talking about that, the bot pods and the bandwagons on the Mac haters, the Mac attackers, Mac shamers. But more importantly, where do we go from here? I want to stick on Bobby's point. Where do the Patriots go from here? The OC search is underway. And I want to talk about the roster. Not a lot is being made about the roster, and just a little bit of a recap on how the season ended and missed opportunities. So that'll be the show. We'll have Simplest Minds of the Week. We got a candidate for that, sticking in the football world. This is the Simple Minds Sports Show. Friday we ride. January, I have no idea. I have no idea what the date is.
Happy Friday the 13th.
It's the 13th, Friday the 13th. Perfect. Let's see if Ray can make me cry. He's been promising to make me cry over this Mac shaming for weeks, and I've yet to shed a tear.
I'm gonna fucking cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm
in a vulnerable mood today. It's been a 24 hours of drama in the household McPhee, so maybe you can get me there, Ray. I doubt it. Dumb fucking piece of shit. Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something loaded inside of. If you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, we are the #1 New England sports show on iHeartRadio and the self-proclaimed #1 New England sports show on iTunes. Wherever you're listening, tell your friends, rate, subscribe, review, and of course, tell your mothers. And tell them about W Energy Drink. Go to w.gg. That's W, like dummy, like Raymond, but with B's. W.energy.gg. Enter the promo code Simple Minds for 15% off all of your orders. For all you energy drink freaks out there. Before we get back into Ray's just incredible mind, let's just dial it back. We're not going to talk much about that Bills game. I didn't watch it. Kudos to me. I knew I shouldn't, and I didn't.
Because I ruined it for you.
You bastard.
35. Actually,
if you had watched that game live, you would have a different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Watching that game live. You want to talk about a fucking roller coaster? I don't care about your fucking day. Watch that game live instead of you having some lollygagging fucking great weekend day, whatever you did. Okay, that was a fucking roller coaster, McPhee.
He jerked off Jeff Atkins. That's what he did.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about a roller coaster?
Here's what I'll give you a little insight into it. I was on stage, and as we were about to embark into our performance, literally about to hit it, one of my bandmates is from Buffalo, and her husband came up and said, "The Bills just ran back the kickoff." and then they went 1, 2, 3. I went, "Fuck." So yeah, that's how I watched the game. That was my interpretation of it. 2 touchdowns returned, so I did go back and rewatch it and check out all the shit. So the 2 touchdowns returned obviously were major difference makers for the most part in a lot of ways. It was
missing Jake Bailey, aren't you?
Fuck Jake. I mean, you're missing everything. Cam McCord needs to go. They need to take that visor and strangle him with it.
Jake Bailey's the kickoff specialist. He's the one that can kick the ball into the end zone. This doofus can't even fucking kick it to the 10.
Well, if we
That's
could
what the
fucking
whole problem
tackle
is.
Look, Ray,
somebody-
let's take off the antagonist hat for a second. If you're going to sit here and start to defend Jake Bailey, then we know your whole crock is a crock. Okay, Jake Bailey has been a piece of shit for 2 years as a player. All right, he got his money and he flaked out. That's a fact.
And then
So
he got
Nick
his ass
Folk
suspended.
he got his ass suspended for it. Nick Folk has been do or die for this, ride or die for this Patriots team since you, me, and Bill held hands and prayed to Jesus himself that he would make a fucking extra point in Philadelphia, and then he hit 47 in a row, whatever he did. All right, so let's not get in that. Let's get on Cam Accord for not being able to teach these guys how to cover up a kickoff. How about that?
Agreed.
How about that?
Agreed.
But other than that, Bobby, on the roller coaster ride, the other side of it is this team offensively, even in times defensively, looked the best they've looked all season.
That was the best game the Patriots played all year, less the 2 kickoff returns. They actually
second half offense. Second half
they
offense.
stabilized the game. After that emotional roller coaster, they returned it for a touchdown. They literally, on the next drive, drove down the field, a full drive, scored a touchdown, stabilized the game, and then stopped them the next play after that. Then after that, the game was on.
Jacoby Myers with the catch of the year, too, by the way, on that drive.
It looked like going, obviously, turnovers on both sides of the ball, but look, they lost. The Bills are a better team than them.
Simply put.
For a lot of different reasons, whether they lost in special teams or whether the offense didn't show up again, or whether the defense was picked apart by a top echelon quarterback like they've been all season. It wasn't a game they were going to win. We knew that, unless there was complete turmoil because of the Hamlin injury or heart attack, whatever you want to call it, or they sat their guys, which none of that happened. So they lost. In order for them to make the playoffs, they needed a win from the Jets and they needed a win from the Browns. Neither of those things happened. So that trash bag team, the two-less Dolphins, the 1-5 Dolphins in the last 6 weeks of the season, are in the playoffs and about to get their freaking doors blown off. And it's a shame because that last game against the Bills showed you, as little as a margin as it is, the Patriots did improve a little bit. I think you can say that. And I'll give the credit to Belichick because I still think he is that coach that can do that for a team. And I think if you got into the playoffs, whatever the matchup is, when the Dolphins are playing the Bills, so it would have been the same as last year. You got a rematch against the Bills. Yeah, you probably go and lose that game again, but you probably don't lose it 48-17 like you did last year. You just went into their ballpark and gave them a game. So it would have been a step in the right direction. I've been make the playoffs all since day one. You don't want to miss the playoffs. It was a complete disappointment. In a word, dysfunctional. In another word, underachieving. How many steps backwards do you want to call it from last year to this year? Several that they have to now dig their way out of. To identify that, to maybe put that into numbers, I just want to get, and this is just offensively because the defense, maybe we'll do it next week. We can get into the defense, and maybe they were, certainly took advantage of bad competition, and they were, their turnovers. I don't want to call turnovers fluky. They did it consistently enough this year to be a threat there.
They're a fake top 10 team defense. I
don't think they're fake top 10. I think they're a real top 10 defense. It's just hard to be a good defense in this NFL, and you don't win on defense in this NFL. But I would call them a playoff caliber defense. Is that a vague enough term to?
No, I would agree with that. They would seem like a better defense if their offense would hold up their end of the bargain.
Thank you. That's also a great point. The defense was doing what they were doing, constantly behind.
They had to put up with so many 3-and-outs this year too, where they're not getting a proper rest. A big part of defense is actually being able to rest because you're the one doing the chasing.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. That's why football is football. They go hand in hand. So, but maybe we'll do the defense next week. This is just the offense. These are just the offensive numbers, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen them. But I want to compare them to the roster. The roster turnover offensively from last year to this year. It's not much. On the offensive line, you lost Shaq Mason and you lost Ted Karras. You replaced them with Cole Strange, a rookie, and Mike Owinu, who was better than Shaq Mason the year before. If you want to call that You want to call that a wash? You want to call that a slight downgrade? You can do whatever you want, but you also got fucking Matt Patricia as your coach. So keep that in mind. Jakob Johnson out. That was due to the offensive scheme change that they implemented. They didn't want a fullback, so he went to Vegas with McDaniels. Then in return, you brought in some rookie running backs. Here's the other big one. N'Keal Harry out, Devontae Parker in. This is just to say, I would argue, certainly from a skills standpoint, with another year, like you brought in Tyquan Thornton, you had a better roster offensively this year than you did last year. Or at least the same. Ramondre Stevenson took a giant leap from a rookie year. Many are considering one of the best, or if not the best offensive player on your team, one of the best running backs in the game. And you replace N'Keal Harry with Devontae Parker. Ray, you would not agree that the offense is at least as good roster-wise, if not better than it was last year?
So what happened to Mac then? If you had a better roster than
would you just
I'm
just
just
asking.
asking.
Second,
I'm just asking.
you troll, you
just
fucking
asking
red-haired, long fucking anus troll. Could you just agree?
So your narrative that Mac had all this this bad coaching, but you just said the roster's better. So then what happened with Mac? It's because of his pissy little cunty attitude.
God. Can I get an agreement through example of 3 guys basically that left and were replaced, that it's either status quo or
I agree
better?
with the skill position part of it. I think the offensive line's definitively worse.
Yeah, Wynn and Trent Brown were very bad this
Wynn
year.
basically didn't play, and when he did play, he sucked.
Okay, but they're the same guys.
But if you're
here's
calling
my
from
point,
a roster
guys. Here's my
perspective,
point,
though,
gentlemen.
and the guy's good one year and bad the next, he's not good.
Well, let me get to the point. I'll go through your rankings first. Offensive, you spoiler alert, you dropped in every single possible category there is offensively in the NFL. Offensive DVOA, minus 17 from last year. Pass DVOA, minus 14. Rush DVO, minus 18. You thought you were a good rushing team this year? Nope. You went from 7th to 25th. You were the 9th best offense last year. You're the 26th. You were the 10th best passing offense last year with your bitchy Mac Jones. This year, 24th. First down, you went from 3rd to 26th. 3rd and 4th down, you went from 18 to 21st. Red zone, you went from 3rd in the league last year to 32nd. Goal to go, 5th to 29th. In points, you went from 6th to 17th. I think they scored 22 less touchdowns this year than they did last year. Interception rate, 16 to 21st. First downs, 19 to 28th. 28th in first down rate. Third down percentage, you dropped 9%. Yards per play, relatively the same. Sacks, you almost doubled the amount of sacks you gave up. To your point,
that's fucking huge.
Your offensive line. Your points were down about 100, actually almost exactly 100, 462 to 364. Offensive touchdowns, here it is, 48 to 31, down 17. If the roster man to man is relatively the same, what was the common denominator that changed?
Coaching.
So to answer your question, your stupid trolley question,
I was fucking being nice.
What happened to Mac?
Cunt.
The coaching happened. What happened to Isaiah Wynn? The coaching happened. What happened to Trent Brown? The coaching happened. Also, the management happened. You know what they did to Trent Brown and Isaiah Wynn? Trent Brown signed a deal with them as a right tackle for right tackle money for 2 years, and then they switched him to left tackle. Isaiah Wynn they didn't give him a contract, and he was playing for left tackle money, and they switched him to right tackle. Both of those guys came into camp saying, "Fuck you."
Don't be sympathetic to them. You stop it.
Look,
thank you, Bobby.
All I can tell you is the roster from last year to this year is
Don't tell me
the
you
same,
wouldn't pull that
and you
switcheroo
drop
yourself.
down on average.
You pull him in for guard money and then put him to tackle.
10
Don't
to
fucking start.
Fucking percent on every single goddamn offensive category they track in the NFL. Look at that chart. There's not one single positive. And the common denominator is coaching. I've been saying this for weeks at you stupid Mac haters. If you can't get it through your thick brain that the only thing that matters is the decision to bring in Patricia and Judge to run that offense, I don't know what to tell you. We could talk about Mac. We will. He certainly wasn't great, and he certainly had his down points, but it starts and pretty much ends there. And that's why the first thing they did in the offseason was let go of Patricia, or at least remove him from his duties.
Yeah, he didn't get let go. He's just moving on to
Well,
different position.
he'll probably go back to that front office role he had last
No,
year.
no. Gerard Mayo's out. Matt Patricia will be in.
Well, we can get to that and the moves that need
That
to
better
be
not
made.
happen.
Does anything else stand out to you there on that beautiful chart that I laid out for you?
The sack rate, that's huge. Obviously, we talked about that.
Quick question: Who was coaching the offensive line this year?
That'd be Joe Judge. Yeah, they're walking nut sack.
No, it was Matt Patricia. Good try though. In the final interview, in the final press conferences of the year, Belichick came out guns a-blazing, if you would.
That was one hell of a press conference.
Jesus, you want to talk about dysfunctional? This is another thing. Look, I don't want to be the Mac guy, but Ray pins everyone in such a corner because his stupid little brain only operates in black and white. If you can't listen to what Bill Belichick said, throwing everybody he can think of under the bus, including his owner,
I thought that was pretty clear that he threw him under the bus.
for the mistakes that he
there
made.
was no misinterpretation of that.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
He comes out and says we're 27th in the league in spending. He comes out and when asked if Mac Jones is your quarterback next year, he says, well, he can play in the league. And then the next day you were going to report that Mac Jones went behind his back. Gee, I wonder where that came from.
Mac Jones's camp.
Bill Belichick is a master manipulator, and he did all the right things to put himself in at least the best light possible, being as vague as possible. And then went in, supposedly, Bobby went into Kraft's office this week, ate crow, said, I do need to change the offense. I will change the offense. And that's the first thing we have to think about.
I think that you mentioned the quote with the 27th. The quote went even like a little bit further, where basically he said it was like a 3-year span. So it's like obviously 1 year was the big spending, but over 3 years we're at 27th. But then he spoke about the results that he got within those 3 years, indicating where basically they're a mid-table team over 3 years, but basically are spending at a 27th level. So, like, what I'm working with is bottom of the league spending, but what I'm getting you is these results, which is a real close to a fuck you as you can get.
No,
and so,
it's a fantastic point. Look, hey, dickheads in the media, what did we finish this year? 14th? Well, we're 27th in spending. So I just made up 13 points. I just made up 13 positions. Fuck you.
I know. He is not pulling punches, and he was part of it. Like the way he was conducting that interview was a very Belichick way to do it too. But he's pulling out the rhetoric where everything he's saying is, I'm making these decisions because it's what I think is best. And he's always telling you that he's thinking ahead. He's always telling you that he's thinking ahead. I don't know if he always is, but that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know if he always is now, certainly. And there was another report that came out in the past 7 years. The Patriots are actually 31st in actual cash spending. So I don't know. We can talk about that a little bit, Ray. Should we be harboring a little hate for the Crafts? They've been skating just as much as Belichick has been skating under Brady's wings for 20 years. They've been able to get away with it. I've also heard reports from the likes of Mike Reese that Belichick is just as responsible for being cheap in his spending as everybody else. And there have been, we don't know what he makes as a coach money-wise, but there's also been a lot of more than rumors, speculated, informed speculation that the money he doesn't spend can trickle back into his pocket somewhere down the line.
That's why Patricia and Judge is there. Yeah.
So Patricia and Judge don't count towards the cap or the cash spending, but if Kraft looks at it as football spending, and he's given,
we call that a Ponzi scheme.
Anyone watch that Madoff documentary on Netflix?
I'm on episode 1. Is it good?
Well, it's very confusing. So Godspeed to you, but it's actually not. It's just like I take your money and tell you and do something with it, and all I do.
But then I don't do it. I just take your money.
I just keep it and then give somebody else a portion of it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Anyway, so here you go. Here's an idea for you. So Kraft here's your bucket of football money. Okay. And over the years, whatever year it was in the past 20 something that he's been for the Patriots, Kraft said, you know what, Bill? Here's the check. Here's the checkbook. Do whatever you want. But here's your bucket of money. Here's what you get to spend. You spend on yourself, you spend on your coaches, spend on your players, spend on your training staff. I don't care. You're in charge. And it worked very, very well for a very long time. And now it's all kind of coming to roost. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know why else. Why would Belichick not spend the owner's money to get better players? Ego?
It's not his money.
Raymond?
Ego, yeah. I mean, everyone says he makes $25 million. Obviously, Patricia and Judge came here. They're getting paid from their former team, so that's something that Bill doesn't have to pay for. Used to get Tom Brady taking pay cuts left and right, so you could go sign these guys. And how many times we bitched that they weren't going out there getting the guys that Tom Brady wanted, instead, spending money on a defensive player that's not really helping out Brady's offensive side of the thing. So, I mean, I think it's a wake-up call for both of them. I think Kraft has to go out and spend over more money than he has to, and Belichick has to use what he is getting to address the needs of this team. And one is offensive coordinator, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Kraft extends himself for what they mean by that. And you know what? Fuck Brady taking lesser deals. No, he didn't. He got his money.
Of course, he got his money.
Is TB12 set up in Patriot Place? Yeah. Tom Brady got taken care of. Don't worry about Tom Brady. Okay, last question on this. How much, Bobby, how much do you think Kraft will kind of meddle in this offseason? So I know you probably already saw it, but I've been away from my phone now for about an hour. Patriots announced they're looking for OC. They let everybody know Gerard Mayo is going to Carolina. The head. So,
is he? Is that official?
He's interviewing for Carolina. Not that he got.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, okay.
He's interviewing for Carolina. Yeah. Very rare from the Patriots to let us know that they're looking for an OC.
Why would Carolina want Gerard Mayo as their head coach?
Why would anybody want Gerard Mayo as their head coach?
They're saying Gerard Mayo would be the heir apparent. If he stayed here, he'd be the heir apparent to Belichick.
Belichick won't even give him a fucking title, but either you're going to give him the head coach. Come on, like this shit, like
We'll get to that. We'll get to Gerard Mayo. I want your final thoughts because we got to get to headlines. I want your final thoughts on Kraft. If he's going to, how much meddling do you think? How heavy of a hand do you think he has this offseason?
Good, Ray.
No, go ahead. He asked you.
I think a lot. I mean, he came out with his email like right away. Like, so he came out with the email to show his hand that like, this is what I'm not okay with these results. And he's trying to set a table to indicate that he's looking to have changes happen, which I think in turn caused Bill's response in this press conference where he's putting out publicly, hey, these are the things. This is the hand I've been dealt with from the ownership, and this is results that I've given you. So I do think that he is, because I think it's also a bit of Kraft's legacy. Like he doesn't want to. All his other owners, they're in the playoffs winning games, and he's getting flexed out of Sunday night games.
Yeah, they're 4 years without a playoff win now. I think Belichick breaking Shula's record with the Patriots is extremely important to Kraft, especially after the debacle of letting Brady walk out the door. So if I could put it, Ray, in a term that I think Bill would understand, the Queen would understand, this offseason, Bill Belichick is walking around holding on to the inside of Mr. Kraft's pocket as if they were in prison.
No, I got you.
The old prison bitch move.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting dog walked through this offseason, at least the beginning of it, to set up his coaching staff and then probably the draft. And we'll see how they go from there. Sort of the headlines with the obvious one.
Thank you there, Richard. Happy Friday the 13th to all of you. The Patriots season came to an end on Sunday, losing to the Buffalo Bills 35-23. Cam McCord was feeling it as Patriots special teams coach, letting up not one, but two kickoff returns for a touchdown. Matt Jones' final game was okay, going 26 for 40 with 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. I'm sure it was everyone else's fault and not his, though. The halfway point of the NBA season is here, and the Boston Celtics sit atop the league with the best record at 30-12. As we record, they are taking on the flat earth loving, Thanksgiving isn't a holiday, anti-Semitic loving Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. No KD, so hopefully we get the win. Are the Bruins peaking too early? They are currently 32-4-4 with 68 points this season, and with a record like that, you get named to the All-Star team. Coach Jim Montgomery, goalie Linus Ullmark, and that's it. David Pastrnak, who is currently 4th in points and 2nd in goals, wasn't named a starter. Hopefully he will get the nod with the fan vote. Speaking of jokes, Trevor Story, the guy who was signed last year as insurance for when Xander left, announced that he had UCL surgery and could be out 4 to 6 months. Now there is a glaring hole in the middle of the lineup, like Rich's mother's butthole. And lastly, Lionel Messi scores for Paris Saint-Germain in his first game back since winning the World Cup. Congrats, Rich. This has been Headlines with the Obvious One. Back to you, Richard.
Guy just can't not score goals, Best ever. GOAT.
Yeah, go.
Because he takes HGH.
Yeah, but you know what? If you had to succumb to the greatest upset of all time, you would too. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Is that true? Olmark was the only all-star starter from the Bruins, from the best team in hockey.
Yep.
That's fucking unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Now the football season's over. I can get into hockey more. Get myself the NHL package, hide in my corner and watch some games. We'll do some more hockey moving forward. Before that, let's do some Patriots off-season talk. Let's do lists because people like lists. Let's talk about what you need to do, what they need to do. 1, 2 through 7, but a lot of underlining issues through these 7 things that I've pointed out here. Number 1, which they've already done, is relieve Matt Patricia from offensive coordinator duties. Now, that's not been announced, but heavily reported.
Yeah,
put a check mark right there. Number 2, I had fire Cam Accord. This might be a sneaky number 2 for a lot of people. Might be a little further down the list.
That'd be further down the list for me, but yeah.
The special teams lost you
2 games.
I don't know, at least 2 games. At least 2
Specifically
games.
2.
Even that Bengals game, Nick Folk missed 3 extra points. 2 extra points.
Those 3.
That guy needs to go. I mean, they've been atrocious for 2 straight years. You got a perfect solution right on your staff. Joe Judge, slip him over there.
Yeah, you can slide him over.
There you go. And we can go back to loving Joe Judge like we always had before. That was a thing. Hire OC. All right. So now I'm just thinking chronologically. It's much easier to fire some guy than it is to hire some guy. So you can just bang those 2 out real quick. I'd like to see Cam Accord out within the next day or 2. But hire the OC. Let's have a conversation about this. So Cliff Kingsbury has been in the news. Albert Breer was the first to report that the Patriots had, quote unquote, done their research on Cliff Kingsbury. Let's stop there. Bobby, I know you're against Cliff Kingsbury. Tell us why.
He's a phony. He was at
Hot
Texas
phony.
Tech. Okay. Texas Tech.
Life.
I don't know if you know what Texas Tech is. It's a Big 12 school where all they do is throw the ball around. And he had the best quarterback on the fucking planet and had a losing record and got fired. He can't fucking coach. And then for some reason, the Cardinals hired him. He's never even been an offensive coordinator. The guy can't coach.
The Cardinals hiring him after getting fired was a very Cardinals move. However, I'm going to push back on the can't coach. Before he was hired by the Cardinals, he did have the OC job for SC. They did hire him. He didn't take it because he was waiting on the Cardinals to give him the job. When he took over for the Cardinals, they went from 5 wins to 8 wins to 11 wins. They got into a playoff game, and then this year, Kyler Murray played Call of Duty.
Call of Duty came out. He didn't want to play.
New Call of Duty came out. That's also facts. So
that was one on his list.
Whether he can coach or not, I actually also think is a little bit moot in this point because I don't need him to coach. I just need him to call offense. I just need him to come in and run an offense.
Well, part of running an offense is having an established relationship with your quarterback. Kyler Murray doesn't like Cliff Kingsbury. So at a professional level, his last quarterback didn't like him. Granted, Kyler is Kyler.
And
also,
Mac
granted,
is Mac.
The quarterback before that was Patrick Mahomes. It is Patrick Mahomes, but at Texas Tech, he threw 46 touchdowns for 10 interceptions and over 5,000.
All he has to do is call. He's like, Patrick, pass the ball. That was the play. There was no offense. He just fucking called pass plays and he just chucked it.
I'm with Bobby on this. I'm on with Bobby on this one. I don't want Kingsbury because
for the same reason.
He's just another retread coach. It's like hiring Patricia. He's a failed head coach. We're bringing in.
Hey, how dare you? It's like hiring Patricia. That's an insult to everybody that's ever coached offense before.
And he's coming in on a cheap because obviously the Arizona Cardinals gave him that huge extension, so he's coming in for free. You want someone where Bill Belichick is actually dishing out money from his payroll. So like a Bill O'Brien and Nick Haley. Guy like that would be someone
he might have some goddamn respect for.
Yeah.
Here's I don't really know. I'm not a yes or no on Cliff Kingsbury. I don't really know. Here's what I do know. If the Patriots had anybody with a semblance of offensive mind on this team this year, you'd be in the playoffs. Anybody. That's Cliff Kingsbury. That's fucking Cam McCord was an offensive coordinator for a high school team. If that guy got the offense, they would have been in the playoffs.
I don't think so.
Cliff Kingsbury has been considered a pretty sharp offensive mind for many, many years. He was with the Patriots staff before Texas Tech. He is comfortable or at least familiar with the Patriots system and in Foxborough and Belichick. So those are all positives, and he's free. So those are all positives. Those are all reasons why you could point to why they might do it. Negatives are, yeah, he's kind of failed. But you know what? There's only 32 NFL head coaches. A lot of them fail.
Question: I don't know if either one of you know this, but if you bring in Kingsbury, can you give him the OC title?
No, you got to pay him. That's why they never give these guys titles.
Yeah, okay. So he won't have the title. He'll just be on the staff.
Yeah, you can't. There's I don't know some kind of
coach or
some fucking NFL bylaw that if you give a coordinator position, they you have to have a minimum salary or something like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Which doesn't matter. And the Queen and I had this conversation in our text chain. Would Cliff Kingsbury care? He said ego. Yes, he would care. I don't know. He's getting paid something like $9 million a year or something from.
Well, I mean, you already, if your ego
Cardinals
is in
for 4
play,
years.
why would you work for free? Essentially, he's being the offensive coordinator for the Patriots for free. He's getting paid by the Cardinals.
But in your logic, why would anybody else hire him?
Why would anybody else hire Kingsbury?
Yeah, he's a failed head coach. Why would anybody else hire him?
I don't think they will. I think
that's why you'd work for free.
Well, but then he's not working. He's getting paid by the Cardinals. He'd be getting paid the same money no matter what.
Yeah, but somebody's got to give him an opportunity.
Well, yeah,
and that's where the Patriots graveyard comes into play.
Well, also Belichick's 71. He'll be 71 this year. What if Kingsbury comes in here and says, "Hey, guess what? Bill's going to be retiring after he gets the record. Maybe if this works out, you could be the heir apparent."
Well, that's the Billy O'Brien route, right? So anybody that comes in here next is always going to be rumored or in line or somewhat in line for, okay, the next step. We got to start thinking about in 2 years, Belichick's out of here, 3 years, Belichick's out of here. So, there's a chance to take over for, one of the best franchises in the NFL. So that's a pretty good gig. Speaking of Billy O'Brien, reportedly, the Patriots have not contacted him, even though he has been the most obvious choice to take over. He has experience with Mac Jones before he went to Alabama. Mac Jones and him had sessions,
spring session, yeah,
kind of go over the offense. Obviously, has experience with the Patriots. The offense that he runs is the same offense that Mac Jones had success with as a rookie and in Alabama, essentially. He does have success as a head coach at both Penn State in an awful situation following the Sandusky bullshit. He did a great job pulling that system out of the mud. And say what you want about him in Houston, but he went to the playoffs with Brian goddamn Hoyer. Yeah, he was given the personnel position duties there and never wanted him. And that's kind of when things went downhill for him in Houston. But highly regarded as a good coach in the NFL. Sorry, your thoughts on Billy O'Brien. Go ahead.
That's my guy. That's the guy I want, because you know what? When you saw him on the sideline and going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady, getting in Tom Brady's face because he wasn't doing what he was told to do, that's what you want. You want someone to be able to go, if Mac's going to be the quarterback next year, to be able to say, hey, cut the shit. This is what I need you to run. This is what, look at what's open, make the correct reads. You want someone to be the tough love guy who doesn't give a fuck. Yes, he made some bad mistakes getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins in Houston. I mean, so there's a track record of that. But if he's the offensive coordinator, I think Mac needs someone that's tough love, not some fat fuck that doesn't know how to read a fucking offense,
Bobby?
I agree. He's a professional coach and there'd be improvement. But just the way I'm looking at it, like if you're looking to move into the future, you don't look to the past. He is a professional coach and we would improve. And if it's the best we can do, okay, we'd be better. But the way I'm approaching the Patriots as the way they should move forward is to make moves that can get them back to where they were. And I just don't think that is the sort of move that would do it, because it just represents the old guard that they're trying to recreate, which is never going to happen.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you bring a good point. I mean, what you're talking about is kind of a completely reshaping the organization. I find that hard to believe they'll do under Belichick. When Belichick is there, there's not going to be reshaping anything, right? It's just going to be under his tutelage. And I kind of agree with Ray. I think the best you might be able to do under this tutelage is Billy O'Brien.
It might be the case.
Unless to your point, Bobby, unless there's some unnamed kid in a Nick Caley or somebody else that we've never heard of that can come in and do something.
Yeah.
But let me give you this. I heard today on the radio. Of the I think there's 16 coaches, positional coaches on the staff for the Patriots. Outside of Patricia and the Jewish stat god Evan Goldstein, or whatever the fuck his name is, that he brought over from Detroit. There's another guy that Patricia brought over from Detroit, and Joe Judge. Those are the only guys that are currently have any other experience other than the Patriots, and clearly, and of course, those guys came from the Patriots as well. So of your 16 coaches, all of them are Patriots born and raised. Of the 16, outside of Belichick, they have an average of 3.5 years coaching experience. And they're all from the same system.
It's so fucked.
It's so fucked. And it does not lend any credence to Belichick going that far out of the organization for what you're asking for, Bobby, to challenge himself and challenge his organization with an outside voice. I don't see that happening. It's why I see Cliff Kingsbury as the closest thing to that, because he doesn't run the same offense, and he hasn't been. It's not like he grew up through Belichick. He just spent some time on the staff. Other than that, Billy O'Brien coming in and stepping in where he left off in 2009 or whenever he left, I think is your best bet.
Yeah. He's
Unless
from
Nick
Massachusetts
Caley,
too, so
yeah, he wants to come.
That's been reported.
Yep.
So
either way, look, let me ask you this. If they do give O'Brien the job and he gets to bring some of his coaches along, maybe steals from Alabama or some guys that he's worked with in the past, are you going to be, what's your level of disappointment? Is it a complete disappointment, or is it okay?
What'd you be disappointed about?
I'm asking Bobby. Bobby wants a complete rehaul.
Would I be I wouldn't be disappointed, and I wouldn't be encouraged. I would just be like, I would be satisfied that the change was made, because I think it would represent, like I said, he's a professional coach and he would get the job done. If Bill O'Brien was the coach of this year, we would have won 10 or 11 games and we'd be in the playoffs. So
yeah, I think that's an encouragement.
Yeah, but for how I'm going to feel, for what I'm looking for personally, I wouldn't be discouraged or encouraged. I would just be like, okay, they made a move that was salient, and I can't be upset about the decision. It was done.
Yeah, I think what you're looking for, you're gonna have to wait 2 or 3 years for Belichick to get out of here.
Pretty much, yeah. No, you're right.
I think O'Brien coming in here gets you dockets 2 or 3 wins, and I think you're a perennial playoff team.
Wild card.
No, I agree.
Wild card with
maybe
Belichick.
maybe looking at 10 wins.
Look at the Bills. They're not some lock-in powerhouse Tom Brady Patriots winning the division 17 years in a row. They have more than a handful of games where they blow it. Josh Allen, as good as he is a rockhead. He makes dumb mistakes constantly.
The Bills could have been had in that game.
The division could have been had this year. The division is not completely locked in as if it were with the Patriots from their run from, call it 03 to whatever.
And we think Robert Kraft's cheap. That fucking owner for Buffalo is cheaper than Robert Kraft. So I think sooner or later,
might be coming around. Yeah, they're paying Diggs, they're paying all those guys. So okay,
a lot of people.
Let's move forward. Let's do the DC talk. Ray, I know you are been talking a long time. You think Mayo's 100% gone. Yeah. Bobby, I'm with you. I don't know why anybody would hire that guy as a head coach. I don't know what he's proved, but he might get I think defensive coordinator position somewhere else is more likely.
Cleveland's called.
The first question you would ask in the interview is, Gerard, what is it that you do there? It's just like, it would be like that Office Space interview. What is it that you do?
Yeah. No, TBS. Ray, why do you think he's gone?
I just think he's gone because I think he doesn't have the defense coordinator position here. You have Stephen Belichick, who is apparently being groomed to be that guy. So why not? Even if he doesn't get a head coaching job, I think he's gone to get a defensive coaching coordinator job somewhere else. Like Cleveland's already asked for him. I'm sure other teams around the league are going to ask for him to interview for that position as well. So I just think I think if he wants to be take that next step, he has to leave. Belichick and the Patriots.
I agree with that.
Can I ask you 2 questions? Do we know of Steve Belichick and Gerard Mayo, who is the better coach?
Nope.
So just to give you a little bit of background, Steve Belichick has been on the Patriots staff for, I think, 7 years, worked his way up through his positional and got it to where he's got to go. Gerard Mayo has been there for 3.
But you had all the playing time, though.
I think the only thing that's verifiable.
Troy Brown played
Steve
for like
Belichick
20
calls
years, and the
defense.
receivers sucked this year. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. Just because you can play doesn't mean you can coach.
I'm saying.
I missed that, Bobby. What'd you say?
I think the only thing that's verifiable about what they do is that Steve Belichick calls the defense. He's the active defensive play caller.
I've also heard reports from the beat guys from Reese and everyone else that they they have admitted that Steve Belichick is a good coach.
Yeah.
Of course you have the nepotism thing going on now.
Yeah.
Right. So that gets in the way. So
It's it's tough to avoid.
Even if the right move was, here's what I think Belichick needs to do. Belichick needs to name a DC, whether it's Mayo or whether it's or whether it's his son. He needs to go full board with it and just give him the position. And he needs to get back to a
fucking Mike
fuck
Shanahan
you.
had the
If you don't
nuts
like
to do
it, get out of my face. That's it. And this is where he lost it, Ray. And this is why Mac Jones is acting like this. And I've been telling you this for months and months and months. Belichick lost his entire team. He lost his room when he brought Patricia on to run the offense because the entire team went, "What the fuck are you doing? We can't trust you anymore."
Joe Judge as well.
He needs to get back to that. No more Steve Belichick, Gerard Mayo. You guys collaborative, blah, blah, blah. Give me a DC. Give me an OC. Those guys run the ship. Make it military like he used to. And anybody that has a problem with it, including Mac, can fuck off. That's what really needs to happen.
Do you know what really would actually help the whole locker room? Get rid of Steven Belichick.
I don't disagree with that unless he's the better coach.
But
what if Mayo sucks?
Who do you think is actually?
When you listen to the people, no one says he's bad.
Who do you think's actually calling the plays? This is Bill Belichick's whole defensive scheme. No matter what you.
Oh, Steve's calling the plays.
Steve calls the defensive plays.
I understand that, but it's Bill Belichick. So if you got rid of Steven Belichick, there's one less Belichick in the locker room. Now, hey guys, let's get back to being one. You know, my son's gone. Here's the new DC.
I actually don't get the feeling that nepotism thing has creeped into that. The problems were on offense. The defensive squad was tight and with it, and Steve Belichick has worked his way through the system with those guys there. They respect him as a coach. They like him as a coach. Certainly they do with Mayo too. I don't know who's the better coach. I don't know who would be the better play caller. I think, yes, certainly the lack of nepotism generally helps anything. But if you give Gerard Mayo the play sheet and he sucks, then, well, he sucks.
He almost got the head coaching job in Denver last year. Remember that? He was interviewing.
How to go for Denver? How to hack?
Yeah, we look at their fucking judgment.
Track record
yeah, their fucking judgment sucks. Now it's being told they're going to bring in Dan Quinn. There's another great fucking idea.
Yeah, good job, Denver. The Walmart crew is doing real well over there. All right. Well, we'll see. Certainly a loss from Mayo for it will hurt. I'll say that the defense has been good and clearly he's been a big part of it. So him walking away for nothing will
bring
hurt.
Flores back.
Oh man, that's
bring Flores
can I ask you a quick question?
Either. That's DC since Cornell.
Who would you respect more on the defense? A guy that played in the system who was a Pro Bowl type player, or a guy whose daddy is the coach?
A guy who coached me the best, which is
yeah, just whoever was better.
You fucking both took the easy way out on that question.
Nah, because you're so stupid. You don't frame it. You just frame it in such a simple, goddamn way.
You're telling me something.
We don't even know
what
Gerard Mayo does.
We don't know what Gerard Mayo does. We don't know what he does. Steve Belichick's been there for 7 years. Guys say they like him. He coaches very well. He's handled the defense, running the plays for 3 straight seasons. Like he's earned his stripes. He's pretty good.
I can tell you the sky is blue, and you're going to argue with me and say it's fucking purple, no matter what.
Well, it's fucking raining right now, so it isn't blue.
Yeah, it isn't blue, you dumb cunt. All right, let's move on. Let's keep it civil here. The next I had on this was restructuring some deals. So just in cap space, we talked about. Good God, we're going long. I don't know. Okay.
How's your kids doing?
That's what she said.
How's your kids doing?
I turned off the sound. So you got Jonnu Smith, you got Judon, you got Henry, and you got Godchow. They're all the top guys are making 17 million next year. Henry's around like 13. Godchow's at 10. You could restructure all these guys and get under the cap. Your cap space right now, I think, is like top 6, top 7. You're at like
54 million. 40. No, 54.
The last I saw was 44. But either way,
it's gonna go up this year.
Okay, well, either way, here's the guys. Here's your own guys. So restructuring Jonas Smith, I think, is a foregone conclusion. That dude has
You
no
have to.
leverage, and he's making way too much money.
Yep.
Judon, I think, likes it here and has had a lot of success here, and would probably extend. Henry the same, and Godchow is similar both to Jonas Smith. You suck. So that should clear up some money for you. You should be able to get some space. That's cash spending, but that should give you some space. And you need the cap space because you got to sign some big guys. Before we get to that, here's your own guys, and you tell me real quickly, yes or no, whether you want these guys back, and if you want to elaborate on what they should cost, then go for it. But sounds of silence himself, Jonathan Jones.
Yes, as a number 2.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Reliable, Jacoby Myers.
Yes, as a number 4.
He's not going to sign as number 4. He's probably going to get number 2 wide receiver money.
No, nope. Then see you later.
He's probably like 14 million.
Yep, see you fucking later.
I might say yes. Jabril Peppers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll come back cheap. Damian Harris.
No.
Indifferent. Don't really care.
No, bye-bye. Mac Wilson.
No.
No.
He hasn't played defense in a month.
Raekwon McMillan.
Backup linebacker. Whatever.
McCourty Slater. Time to go.
See ya.
I mean, if Slater came back, but whatever. McCourty can't play safety anymore.
No. McCourty's been involved in every big play, and he's missed on everything last year or two. And then lastly, I think there's been talks. Would you extend Duggar this year before he gets to the free agency?
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed. Okay. Here's your roster holes. Here's your biggest ones. Disagree with me if you'd like. Left tackle.
Agreed.
Number 1 wide receiver.
Agreed.
Number 1 cornerback.
Agreed.
Okay. Let's just have a conversation how you want to address that. Draft, trade, or sign. You got to do it all if you really want to be competitive. 2 questions. Do you think they'll do it all, and how do they do it?
No, they won't do it all. They won't do it all.
I don't think that the big old number 1 receiver is coming in, but I think that tackle, linebacker, and defensive tackle will get addressed.
If you bring Billy O'Brien in, so the rumor is that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be traded from Arizona. Everyone's saying trade whatever you can to get him here. If you bring Billy O'Brien here, you're not getting DeAndre Hopkins, so that won't happen. I think
Disagree.
you address.
I don't want DeAndre Hopkins.
For a 3rd round?
No. He's just like Devontae Parker, except like a little bit better. We've seen that guy. Like, he's not fast. Like, he doesn't run routes. He just goes and gets balls.
You think Hopkins is like Devontae Parker?
He's the same player. No, he's a better version of that. Like, meaning he's like a 50-50 guy. Like, he's not a route running guy. He just throw him the ball and then he kind of gets it. Like, he's
but you
athlete.
sound like me on this one. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. DeAndre Hopkins, get me him. He's a top 5 wide receiver.
Look,
no,
you can,
not anymore. No, you be paying him for what he already did instead of what he's going to do.
If the Patriots get him, they won't be paying him for shit. They'll restructure and do something.
If you get him for nothing, take it. But like, I wouldn't like try hard.
Here's the thing. I think that your number 1 need is a left tackle. I think that if whatever else you want to throw on the offensive line, I think you need to absolutely shore up your offensive line, and that goes for any shitty fucking team in a dysfunctional organization. Your first step is shore up your offensive line. Nothing else matters. Beyond that, offensively, nothing else matters.
I think you need both tackles. I think you need a left tackle and right tackle.
Here's the deal with Trent Brown. He's still under contract. If you get a coach that can coach him up and you get winning, I think Trent Brown plays ball. You put him at right tackle, he'll play. I think you can get him to
feel better about himself.
You can get him to play ball.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Cole Strange, from all the professionals I've listened to, I know he had some bad runs there, but he seems to be he seemed to have improved the last 4 years. He's okay. We know Andrews is good. Winu had a great year. You need some depth, but left tackle at number 14 overall, you should be good.
Yeah.
Your next step, I think, and I know I've called the Miami Dolphins trash for years, but if we've learned anything from them, if you give these weak Alabama quarterbacks some talent around them, they can win.
What'd you say?
Well, don't do this, Draymond. Don't make me jump down your throat as I try to get on the same page.
I didn't hear you.
Civil conversation.
My headphones went out. I didn't hear what you said.
Mac Jones is a average to above average quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Above average quarterbacks who are not great and elite need talent around them. That's what the Patriots need. We've learned that from Tua Tagovailoa. So you have to go address a playmaking wide receiver.
That's
Whatever
why
that
sign. They can't draft receiver.
they
Sign it.
can't. Well, this is going to be my next point, Bobby. They can't draft receivers and they can't really draft cornerbacks. So I'd look.
They can draft cornerbacks low, not high.
Yeah, they can draft undrafted guys that takes them 3 years to develop. They need a guy next year. So you need to identify a distressed asset at cornerback, somebody who wants off their team or wants to get paid, and something similar with a wide receiver. I don't like the idea of paying T. Higgins. I think that he's a number 2, 1A at best. And I don't really care who it is. Just get somebody who doesn't need to be schemed open. Get somebody, and against your point, Bobby, I'll take a DeAndre Hopkins who can go out there and just get the fucking ball, because that's what guys like Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa need. They need guys that can just go get open and get the ball.
So the problem is that the free agent class is terrible for wide receivers this year.
No, you're going to have to trade. You're going to have to trade.
You have to trade.
It's not, it's not like terror. It's just it isn't like there's not like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But like you get receivers.
The idea of drafting based on the history, the last couple of years of wide receivers and cornerbacks coming out of the college football ranks, if the Patriots had like any semblance of a decent track record, you could probably get those guys in that draft, but they don't. So I don't know exactly how you address
Bobby,
it.
can I give you the top 10 real quick of the wide receivers of the free agent class right now?
Sure.
Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard, DJ Shark, Randall Cobb, Marvin Jones, Julio Jones, Byron Pringle, Alan Lazard, Jacoby Myers, Deontay Hardy, Juju Smith-Schuster, AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, and Matthew Slater.
Matthew Slater.
They were all Patriots. What was
that? That's the top 10 right now. It's fucking terrible.
It's not good. And here's what you're going to hear from Patriots named Alan Lazar will be a name people bring up. Juju Smith-Schuster. Alan Lazar is a Devontae Parker to me. Like, that's just a guy that kind of runs down the sideline and picks balls high in the air.
Yeah.
None of those guys are going to run past people. I think that's what you need. You need a guy that can run 3 yards past the line of scrimmage horizontally that you can just dump it to, and he can run. You don't have any of those.
Like a Julian Edelman.
You think Tyquan Thornton would be that guy? Don't compare Julian Edelman to any of those stiffs.
I'm just saying, like you said, a guy that can run around and then go. That's Julian Edelman.
Okay.
Final
thoughts on the I wasn't mean. I just said okay. Also, you need a kicker and a punter. Any final thoughts on the roster needs that need to be addressed?
Cornerback, left tackle. I totally agree with you. Yep. Number 1 and 1A.
How much better do you think this defense would be if they brought in a
top
shelf
five
cornerback?
Top 5. Easily. Top 5.
Do you think a lot of people think that they need to address their linebacker core more?
They're also saying that Belichick will never get a quick in that camp. Yeah.
Really?
I agree. You need quick. You need to get with the times. You need a guy.
So you have if you sign him, you have Sounds of Silence, Jonathan Jones, you have Marcus Jones, and you have maybe Jack Jones if he comes groveling back.
He'll be back.
I'm sorry, future MVP Jack Jones.
Thank you.
The Joneses there who all slot in at number 2s or number 3s. None of them can play the number 1 position. And I think what we've been calling for 2 years, Jalen Mills slips into that Devin McCourty free safety role, which I think he'll really excel at. You got Jabril Peppers, Adrian Phillips, and Duggar still there in safeties. You're really solid there. The only hole is number 1 cornerback.
Mm-hmm. You've been saying it all along. You've been saying that all season long.
The best defenses Bill Belichick has ever had have had
a lockdown
Hall of Famer number 1 cornerbacks.
Yep.
And they can shut down an entire side of the field when they have that, and sky's the limit when they can.
Mm-hmm.
I might change my tune. That might be the number 1 thing I want to get. if they can take this defense from a pop top 10 to a true number 5 with a Jalen Ramsey type star, I don't know who it is. Then the offense only has to get a little bit better.
They gave Gilmore a full contract It was like at the time, was it 75 million? I don't know what it was, but whatever it
17
was, it was
per or whatever it was. Yeah.
it was a full market deal that the Patriots at that time never did.
Right.
So could be possible.
Okay. Oh boy. We got a lot to get to, and we didn't. We already went through some of that. Let's just do a quick break. We'll do the Mac Jones. You can Mac shame me here, Ray, and then we'll close out the show.
I won't do that too, baby.
Mac Jones. Here's from NFL.com. NFL.com ranked him the 26th quarterback in the league. Not last. Here's his stats. He played 14 games. He had a 65% completion percentage. He had 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 11 picks, although 7 of those came in the first 5 weeks. This is also, we haven't talked about this. This is, again, the coaching thing. I'm sorry. They went into camp and they wanted to run a zone running scheme. And then basically by the second preseason, the game said, never mind, scrap that.
Throw that out.
What we're going to do is we're going to play 50-50 ball, and we're just going to have them throw it up and go from there. And then that got Mac killed, literally hurt, high ankle sprain. And then they went to Zappy and they changed their offense for Zappy, and they went, oh, we can do this. That's how that all happened. And in that span, Mac threw 7 interceptions. Then he got hurt, and then he came back. And then he threw 1 interception the rest of the time until the last game of the season. So take that what you want. He had 11 picks on the season. 100 rushing yards, good for you, Mac. 1 rushing touchdown, 5 fumbles. So here's what they say on NFL.com. Back in July, Bill Belichick crooned over the great job Jones was doing as a rookie. Another thing, Belichick loved this kid last year and into camp, and that deteriorated when he went behind his back. Bill's assessment coming out of year 2, Mac has the ability to play quarterback in this league. A little bit of a deterrent from there. Belichick also acknowledged the entire offense must grow into something more functional. It's a lock that changes are coming, perhaps in the shape of Bill O'Brien, but Mac deserved better this season. Why did play caller Matt Patricia so forcefully drift away from what suited his starter? ? Jones piled up a 104-point passer rating on play action snaps with a 80-point mark otherwise. Yet the Patriots employed play action on just 16.5% of their snaps, ranking 38th of 40 qualifying passes this season. His tumble was grounded with mismanagement. He set up for a bounce back candidate in Foxborough's heavies sort. Foxborough's, I don't know what that sentence is. He set up for a bounce back. It's a great point. The guy's an excellent play action quarterback, and they just didn't run it.
Was that ESPN you said that was?
As NFL.
Did they say how many tiers he had this year?
Yep. 69.
Nice. Nice.
You also had the whole Chicago debacle. You had which should have been reported that Bill Belichick, that was a fuck you to Mac, because that's when he found out he was calling other coaches to ask for advice. That's been speculated, not reported. And
speculated like my fucking 6-inch wang.
Yeah, it's speculated that you have 6-inch wang until someone actually sees it.
Yeah, then it's 4.
Exactly. Nothing is as it seems. But either way, they did him so dirty. Like, they put him in such a bad spot this year, and then they fucked with him in the middle of it. Like, I don't know how else you want to look at it. They did him so dirty. I'd be so pissed if I was him too. His second year in the league. Are you fucking kidding me? They did him so dirty. 11 touchdowns, 1 pick in the final 8 games of the year.
I want to hear Bobby. I want to hear Bobby's voice of reasoning. Go ahead, Bobby.
Regarding Mac?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Mac, the whole thing is so complicated and nuanced because obviously he was not set up for success, but he just isn't. This goes back, for me, it goes back to what I was saying about the coaching changes. I want someone that can take us to where we were. Mac isn't that guy. He just isn't. He can win games. We can get to the playoffs if you set him up with the proper structure, which he didn't get. Totally get that. But for us to get back to where we were, Matt can't do that. Plus, I don't like him. He's a douchebag, and I don't want him there anymore.
I don't know how anyone could say you can't do it. I don't know how you I don't know how you have a judgment on a guy in 2 years. Last year we were saying Trevor Lawrence was a bust, and he just took his team to the playoffs.
Never said that.
I don't know how we can say he can't do it. I just don't. I think that it's an incomplete.
He doesn't have the mental fortitude to get us to the promised land.
How do you know that?
Because look what he just got dealt. You just got dealt the worst offensive coordinator of all time, and you just finger pointed. Even though you had a shitty season, you took all the blame and threw it on Matt.
This is also another thing.
Just like you, motherfucker.
This is also another thing. What finger pointing?
Oh, come on.
No, really.
We can't do running, bro. The
and
fucking
if a story
ball.
comes out that
said.
he was mean to Zappy, I swear to fucking God.
Now, wait a minute.
Not come out.
Now, wait a minute. All of this finger pointing is based off 2 games where he motherfucked his coach on the field. So that was it? Because he took a press conference every game.
Show some
he
goddamn
did media twice a week all year.
No shit. And Belichick's telling him not to fucking say anything. It's the Patriot way. You got to go out there.
Did that work with Jacoby after the Chicago game where he said they did Mac dirty? No. He didn't like.
But this is Mac Jones. He wants to have a long career in the NFL, so he doesn't want to go out bashing his quarterback.
He'll have a phenomenal career as a backup. He'll be great.
So he didn't. So he didn't actually finger point. He just motherfucked his coach on the field.
Rich, call other companies and say, "Hey, how are you doing business? My company's not doing really well right now. Tell me."
That's called networking, you dumb shit. It happens all the fucking time.
You'd be fired. You'd be fired in an instant.
Are you? Look, maybe plumbers don't wag their dicks at each other constantly, but it's called networking. You go talk to your competitors constantly on a fucking regular basis to see what they're doing in business.
They have constant meetings at Ray's job. Listen, if you talk to other fucking companies about how to unclog a toilet, I swear to fucking God.
Yeah, if you see what other goddamn plungers there's using, you're out of here, Langevin. You you backstabbing bastard. Are you kidding me? It's such a fucking joke. I honestly don't. I think you're serious now. For a while, I thought you were joking, but now I actually think you're serious, and it's a little bit concerning how dim-witted it is. He's pretending to be frozen because he doesn't know what to say.
No, I think we need to go on a nice little bender weekend and just get this all.
I might fucking kill you. I might murder you.
That's fine. I'm ready to go.
It's actually not true. I really don't care that much.
Sky rockets in flight. Woo! Afternoon delight. Whoop. You guys have it, I think. Afternoon delight.
I don't know, Ron. That sounds kind of crazy.
We've gone very, very, very long. I'm not even going to take a break right now. I'm just going to tell you that the Red Sox are completely embarrassing themselves. They do not have, after the Trevor Story injury in IR, they actually don't have a single shortstop on their roster. Their 40-man roster doesn't have a shortstop
or second baseman, right?
They have Christian Arroyo, who's technically a second baseman. But if you look at the official lineup card, the number 8 slot is TBD because they can't put anybody in the shortstop position because nobody actually slots in there from their 40-man lineup. It's astounding. For 2 years, if they didn't want Bogarts after they let him go, they could have signed 6 of the top shortstops in the league. They all moved: Seager, Trey Turner, Carrera, Dansby Swanson. And they didn't. They let them all, Javi Baez. They didn't. They let them all go. And the guy they picked was Trevor Story, who they knew had an elbow injury that flared up on him a year later. Go figure. And now they are in a position where they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They're down at the bottom with the Marlins and the Tigers for World Series odds plus 8,000. And they have the audacity to come in front of a show and run a scroll of people who are involved with the Devers signings, like credits, and talk about the good things that they've done and the good things to come. They're an embarrassment. They're going the wrong direction. Heimblum lacks the skill to do what they need him to do. At best, they're 2 or 3 years away from these young guys coming in and competing. And how are you supposed to bridge that gap while you continue to lie to everybody involved in terms of fans?
Build your farm system.
Well, if they
mediocre.
If they just came out and said we're going to take the next 2 years to build, then we'd be pissed because you're the Red Sox and you're being cheap. But at least you'd be honest, and we could be honest and hate you for being honest. We hate you for lying now and for sucking. So
remember that quote that he had from last week about how hard it was and him sobbing.
It is really, really hard. It is really, really hard. And good luck to Heim. Fucking cringeworthy. His quote this press conference was, quote, "We're gonna do this and it's gonna be awesome." What a dick.
All right.
January
1st when I said I was gonna lose weight.
Yeah, every year. All right, simplest minds of the week right after this.
Are you stupid or something? I'm as stupid as stupid does.
You see this video?
Yep.
I sent it to you, right?
Yep.
OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., for you layman's, on a flight. I guess this was back in Thanksgiving, and we just got the video now. I think there was reported that he had shown up.
It was in December.
I thought it was the Friday after Thanksgiving. Remember back then it was reported like he had.
Well, I
shown
remember
up to
a report
and,
about him with a plane. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is the same incident. I don't think he has two of these. If
It
he
was
does,
it was right before he was supposed to
kudos.
sign with a team.
Signed with the Cowboys. He was supposed to sign with the Cowboys.
Yes. Bobby's right. Yes.
Okay, well, the timing doesn't really matter. Either way, apparently he came from the club, was completely fucked up, unresponsive, sitting in his seat, wouldn't put a seatbelt on, at times didn't have his pants on. There's actually a video of a flight attendant going, "Where's the guy's pants?" And caused the plane to deplane, a 2-hour delay. Everybody had to get off. They called the cops. The cops gave him every chance to get off, and he continued to be an asshole. And then there's one clip of one actual soul walking off the plane, giving him shit. And in response, Odell Beckham Jr. says, "Well, your guy's going to be delayed 40 minutes, and I'm going to get on a private plane and fly to where I got to go. So eat shit, fatty," I think is what he said. I would have been arrested with him. Well, if I was by myself and I'd been drinking, I think I would have attacked him. There's nothing worse than like improper plane etiquette. And if you're this deliberate of an asshole, everyone should have the right to hang you from the fucking wing as you take off to 35,000 feet.
Agreed. Plane etiquette is one of the biggest things that, like, my biggest pet peeve. Like people that stand up too early.
Oh, the stand-uppers.
Oh. The people that we just, we docked, here we go, and they just fucking stand up and they sprint to the front. It's like, dude, you're not going anywhere. And then you see him at baggage claim, and you'd be like, you dumb motherfucker, we're all going the same fucking place, and you just fucking had to make that scene because you had to be the first on the fucking plane. Fuck you, you cunt.
Take a seat, motherfucker. Get a drink. Put the thing up and just hold it in your hand, and then finish it as you land.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Yeah, don't puke.
Miss piss poor plane etiquette is a real big pet peeve.
Big pet peeve of mine. Oh, great. We're on the same team. High five.
High five. It's very rare. What would your response be for OBJ?
Seems like it's on brand. He seems like a royal douchebag, and royal douchebags would do something like this.
Yeah. I probably overstate it. I certainly wouldn't fight him. I would say something, though. I know I'd say something.
Oh, I'd say something. I'd be like, "Hey, cunt, wake the fuck up. Put your goddamn seatbelt on."
I mean, if you're the one guy, just because you're like whatever you are and causes everybody else to deplane, some of those people could miss flights because of that.
Mm.
How's your knee, you forgettable cunt? You're never making the haul, Odell. You ain't getting that contract now.
But what if he wanted to come to the Patriots?
Yeah, was that flight to Boston?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Get the fuck on the plane.
Yeah,
Let him go.
Everyone
Let
get
him
off the
in.
plane. Odell's got somewhere to be.
Jesus Christ. Get him on that private plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an asshole. This has been Sim Mind Sports Show, Friday Rewind, January 7th. 13th.
It's
January
Friday-
13th. Friday the
Friday
13th. We'll
13th.
see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Bill. I like how Bobby doesn't say bye.
Never.
You never know when he's here or not.
Always have to maintain a state of anonymity.
I got something troubling on my mind. I got something troubling on my mind. I got something lonely side of side. I got something on my mind.
Marty! You've got to come back with me! Where? Back to the future!
Hello there.
Gentlemen.
How are we today?
Ooh, what an angle, Raymond.
Thank you.
What an angle.
Thank you. That's what they all say.
From
Gentlemen,
that far underneath, we can only see two chins, which is good.
it's a record.
It's not bad.
No.
Bigger the fupa, taste of the chalupa. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. It's a life motto.
It is a life motto. Ray, you've been really getting on my nerves lately.
How is that any different?
Get off the fucking boat. Get off the fucking Mac Jones boat. Yeah, little
Stop
queer.
Mac shaming me.
Sorry.
There'll be
Sorry.
one
18.
like innocuous text that means nothing, and then you will just go on a text rant about it.
Who, me?
No, Rich.
Oh,
You'll
thank
say
you.
something simple, and then he'll just pop off.
Yeah.
Ray only says simple things. That's all his brain can
Well,
compute.
obviously, yes.
Black
and white, simple things.
How did the show come about?
Not incendiary.
There's not a chance he reads a single one of the text messages I sent. After 4 or 5 words, he's like, I can't do it.
Kelly reads it for me. Kelly!
She reads them out loud, and then
Yeah.
His phone can do that.
she calls me an asshole, and then we go on to the next thing. And Ray just repeats what he said 4 days before that. So
My son does puppets from the psychologist he has that he just acts out whatever Rich says to me.
I'm not going to go into your son's psychologist take, but that's
Joke.
fine.
It's a joke.
We are living on borrowed time right now. I'm staring at a monitor where my 2-year-old is singing "Monkeys, Monkeys" on the bed, and my
Racist.
4-month-old is
Racist.
is like fucking barely asleep. So
Where's Ingrid?
asleep.
Where's
No,
Ingrid?
that didn't work either.
Did she do this?
Yeah, she's gone. What do you say we start the show?